Hi, my name is Timmy and welcome to this video. And in today's video, I want to talk about why 99% of Africans or Nigerians in diaspora generally fails and how we can mitigate that by thinking within or outside the system. So I'm going to explain, and in today's video, I'm going to be bringing two concepts together to drive home my point. So we as Nigerians or we as Africans in diaspora majorly think linearly because we are like linear minds in a systemic world. And uh, before we can understand that point, I want to define what system is and what is systemic thinking, which is one of the most important concepts that you need to understand in this video. So, systemic thinking. So, before we define the systemic thinking, we want to just look around. Everything around you works in a system. Your body works in a system. You have the reproductive system, the respiratory system, the skeletal system. Even the planet itself works in a system. We have the solar system. The planet is a system, and within the planet, within the world, there is also a system. So there's a system within a system. There's also governmental system. Government is a system. So every single thing, the money that we spend is within a system. Central bank, it's a system. So every single thing around us works in a system. And what are the elements of a system? This is very important. Every system has inflow, stocks, and outflow. So this is from a book by Donella Meadows, and very, very insightful books, and I recommend you read. But so in a system, we have inflows, stocks, outflows. So we can also say this is input, processes, and output. So inflow means input, outflow means output. So, and also in a system, we also have what we call feedback loops. So I'm going to use like a bathtub as an example. So the inflow can be like the faucet, the the tap. The stocks can be the water inside the bathtub, and the outflow can be the drain. So that is just an example. So we have the inflow, stocks, outflow. This is very important. So and we're going to talk about it in coming minutes. So inflow, stocks, outflow, and then we have what we call feedback loop because a system does not end in outflows. So there's what we call a feedback loop, and we have two different type of feedback loop. We have the positive and negative feedback loops, which is also known as reinforcing feedback loops, and we also have what we call balancing feedback loops. So the balancing feedback loop simply means let's continue with our example. When you open the faucet, when you open the tap, and there's water and there's drain. So the balancing feedback loops, when the water goes back into the system, it balances the level of the water within the bathtub. So that is what the balancing feedback loop is. It balances the system back. And the reinforcing feedback loop, which is the positive and negative feedback loops, is when the water in the systems drains out, then comes back to the system in an exponential speed, and it increases the level of the stock, which is the water within the system. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible for you to understand so that you can get my point and why this is very, very important. So the positive and negative feedback loop, which is also known as the reinforcing feedback loop, increase the level of the stocks, then goes back to the system again to increase the level of the stock, then goes back to the system again in a loop. So that is why it is called feedback loop. And if the balancing feedback loop is when the outflow comes back into the inflow and it balances it does not increase the level of the stock, it just balances the level of the stock. So that is the positive and negative feedback loop and the balancing feedback loop. So that is how every system works. So now let's use the government system, this which is where we are in. So let's say this is the inflow. We're going to use you as an example. Your inflow can be your your paycheck, and the stocks can be the bills, the taxes, or your your spending, what you spend money on, and the outflow is the outflow of the expenses. Then this can be your shift, your work. Then it comes back again into the system. So I want you to understand and hold on to this idea. So because we're still going to get back to it. So because this is how exactly the system trap work also, because if we don't understand how the systems work, we can't understand what is called systemic trap, and it is very important. So this is the idea of how systems work, and to actually mitigate and escape the system trap, we need to understand these concepts very well. So now I'm going to go into psychology for a bit, and I'm going to talk about the work of Carl Jung, which is a psychoanalysis and psychiatrist, one of the greatest psychiatrists ever. Uh, Carl Jung talk about the psyche, which is the mind. So within the mind, we have what we call your consciousness, what you are aware of, which is your consciousness. And within your consciousness, we have the personal unconsciousness, what you are not aware of, but it is there, but you are not aware of it. And then we have what we call collective unconsciousness. Collective unconsciousness means that things that we inherited unconsciously and that is universal to everyone on earth. So it's called collective unconsciousness. And that is the construct of the mind, which is the consciousness, personal unconsciousness, and the collective unconsciousness. I know this is very difficult to understand, and I'm trying to break it down to the barest minimum so that you can understand. And I'm still going to explain it further and simpler. So within the consciousness, I said we have the personal unconsciousness, and then we have the collective unconsciousness. And Carl Jung says that there's this interplay between our minds, and there's these symbols and patterns that has existed for centuries within the collective unconsciousness that he has observed over the years, because he's a psychoanalyst. So he has observed over the years that there is these patterns, which he called it archetypes. So there is these patterns that has occurred over the years. I will call it archetypes. And we have the self archetypes, we have the child archetype, and we have the shadow archetype, we have the mother archetypes. So I just want to break it down because the self archetype can be what you or what you are truly about. It is about you, it is about your ego. While the shadow archetypes can be what you have repressed over the years unconsciously since you were little. So these are your repressed memories that you don't want to remember, maybe your trauma and events you don't want to remember when you were little. So these are your shadow because it has been repressed within you and you don't want it out. And the shadow usually leads to what? To procrastination, to self-doubt, to limiting beliefs. And also we have the child archetypes. The child archetypes is just patterns that have occurred over the years, and it's when when you are little, when you're a child, you are very innovative and you're very ambitious. You want to do this, you want to be this, you want to do this, you want to become this, you want to become that. And this you can assume that this is just child childish or childlike. But when you're little, you notice that you are very, very innovative. But when you become an adult, there is no time to think of being this or that because you have bills to pay, you have bills to pay, you have to sustain the stocks within the system. So I hope you're getting my point. You have to sustain the stocks within the system because you have to keep everything running because you're going if you don't sustain the stocks, it's very likely to you become homeless and you're going to collapse. So that is what the child archetype is. And also we have the mother archetype. The mother archetype is a archetype like a mother wants to protect a child and also protect, guide the child. That's the role of a mother. But there is a shadow part to the mother archetype. There is a negative part also to the mother archetype, which is called the devouring aspect of that mother archetype. So every archetype has negative and positive side. So we're going to be using the mother archetype to talk about the system because it is very, very similar. And you might be wondering now that, Timmy, why why is this related to the subject matter, which is why 99% of Nigerians in the UK fails and why you can escape that trap? I'm going to explain very soon. So the mother archetype is similar to how the government system here in the diaspora works. And if we don't understand it, and if we don't understand how it works, it, there's a very, very high chance that we also fall under the 99% that fails because this has been happening for years, even since for example, in the UK, we have the Windrush generation of 1948, where after the World War, the UK needs rebuilding. Immigrants were brought to the country through boats from the Caribbeans majorly, and Africans to come and rebuild the country and to come and fill in the stocks to make sure that the system keeps working. And at the end of everything, after working their asses off for years and years and years, for years working to maintain the system, they were not rewarded with anything tangible. The system spits them out. So let me go back to the topic, which is why the mother archetype relates to how the system works. So because we have the negative and positive side of the mother archetypes, which is the positive side is called the nurturing aspect. The mother pattern where, of the system, let's use the UK system as a good example. You have the NHS, we have the benefits, we have the pensions, and the security of being in the system, being in the UK system. This is one of the most important benefits. Even if you are working long hour shifts, you'll still be able to benefit from the good healthcare system, and you have your pension to look forward to. So also we also have the good part of education's laws. There is law. The UK is not a lawless nation, and the quality of education is good compared to the developing countries, and you can easily get a job and pay taxes and keep the system running. And also with the goal of having ILR or citizenship. So that is the mother side of the UK government system to nurture you to make sure that you are growing within the system. But we have the devouring aspect of the mother archetype, which is very similar to how the UK or the US government works. And the system demands loyalty and compliance. And which means that you must keep feeding the system. You must keep feeding the system. And if you don't feed the system, if you don't keep replenishing the stocks within the system, and you do not want to play by the rules within the system, it's going to devour you because there's no other way. You think that there's no other way to actually survive because how are you going to benefit from the healthcare benefit and everything without feeding your time and energy to the system? So the system also creates dependency. That's another um, negative part of it. It creates dependency because you'll be too afraid because you know when a child is in the arms of his mother, he does not want to step outside the world because of the caring and loving nature of the mother. So it's now created dependency within the psyche of the child. So you are like a child in the system. So it creates dependency. You'll be afraid to step out because you'll be afraid to leave that your old jobs or the job that is taking your time and energy and starting something innovative or like starting an online business or getting an online business because you are so dependent in the system because the system is nurturing you. It's giving you the food, the benefits, the care that you need, the security in a sense that you need. So you'll be afraid, you'll be afraid to step out of the system. You'll be afraid to be innovative. So it also suppresses individuation. So what individuation means is that it's it does the system as a mother does not want you to be an adult. So it does not want you to be a whole human being because it wants you to be dependent on it. So it will surely suppress you. So it does not want you to follow unconventional path that does not give back to the system. So it does not want you to follow unconventional path. It does not want you to be innovative, and it does not want you to follow your personal dreams. That is the negative part of the governmental system in the UK here and also in other places in diaspora. So that is how it works. So, and how do we break from that systemic trap? I'm going to explain that very soon because the only way to break away from the systemic trap is to call back your child archetype. That aspect of you that you have suppressed over the years, you have to turn light on it. You have to shine a light on it. That archetype is very important because without your child archetype, which is the aspect of you that wants to dream big, that wants to achieve beyond what you are currently doing, that is not satisfied with your current job, that wants to live a life beyond clocking in and clocking out, that wants to live a life beyond clocking in and clocking out. Uh, it is very important to call your child archetype back and make sure that you use it. You call your child archetype back and make sure that you use it and escape the mother archetype, which is to escape the system. And how do you do that? We do that by starting something. We do that by starting something that does not rely on dependency within the system. So that is very important because, and this is also important. If you see a lot of people in the UK or in the US that are depressed because of the work they are doing, because they don't have the time and energy, and because we've killed the child archetype. We've killed the child archetype. It has been suppressed. I won't say killed like that. I'll just say suppressed. So we've suppressed the archetype, which is one of the main fundamentals in our psyche. It has been suppressed because we need to depend on the system or we need to replenish the stocks within the system. So and when you separate yourself from your child archetype, you see signs of depression which we surely which can easily affect you. And this is what majority of people has done. They've suppressed the innovative part of themselves. They have suppressed their dreams. And when you cut yourself, it's just like separation of the soul. This is like your soul, and you've separated yourself from your soul. And when you've separated yourself from your soul, You without your soul, because that's the only thing that you have. Without your soul, you sh- it is very easy to fall into depression. So, um, how do we reverse this and escape the system trap and not fall under the 99% of people that fails? The only way uh, to do this is also to think in system. The only way to do this is to also think in system. So instead of feeding the standard and what is expected of us, we need to start something that gives us leverage over the standard system. And the only thing that gives you leverage over the standard system is to start a business that gives exponential return. I'm not telling you to go and start African store. You should go and start selling something in the street of London. So what I'm trying to say is that we need a leverage, because without a leverage, there's no way out, because we need a leverage. And how do we get a leverage? We need to start something that gives exponential return. So I have to clean this up so that I do not want to, because I still want to come back to this. So I don't want to clean it up. So um I want to use myself as an example here. So uh yesterday my I earned about, let's say I earned about uh £2,500. Let's say I earned about £1,500, and £2,500. Let's say uh I want to divide this £2,500 multiplied by the, let's say you are paid about, let's say you are paid about £16 or £17 per hour of work. So let's say you are paid about £17 per hour in the job you're currently doing. If you divide this, that is about 146 hours of work. And that is what I earned yesterday. So 146 hours of work. And yesterday, within one day we have 24 hours. 24 hours. So I was able to get leverage through online business, that I'm able to earn 146 hours of work. I'm able to earn about 146 hours of work within 24 hours. So you can see that what I'm doing gives me leverage over the 24 hours that we have in a day, because you can see the exponential return, which is 146 hours of my time. I'm able to earn it within 24 hours. So you need something like this. And even if you're not earning up to this, you need to be earning up to 40 hours in 24 hours. I don't know if you can see this, because the camera had to put in the angle bearer. So you need to earn 40 hours daily. You need something that will make you earn 40 hours daily within 24 hours or more. You don't have to earn 146 hours. So you need to have something that gives you exponential return on your time, that gives you leverage. And doing odd jobs or menial jobs, there's no way, or even doing normal jobs like 9 to 5 or other security works or cleaning or warehouse or all these works that most Nigerians in the diaspora do, does not give you leverage over your time. You need something like this. It is very, very important. And how do we start something like this? The easiest way is to have an online consulting business or an online business. So what we do is that we set up an online consulting business. If you have an online consulting business, this should not be an issue, because if you are earning about £6,000 monthly, you are already leveraging, using your business to leverage your time. So it is very important. We need something that gives us exponential return. That is how we are able to get a positive feedback within the system and replenish the stocks without relying on odd jobs or menial jobs. So it is very understand to break from the mother archetype, and it is very important to shine a light on our child archetype and bring back your soul, because it is very, very important. Because if you bring back your soul, you'll be able to dream, you'll be able to get back the innovative part of yourself that you've buried due to work, due to bills, due to families, because this is the only way to actually escape the systemic trap. Because over the years, and more than this takes me just a few years to understand, because it takes a lot of people a lifetime to understand, about 30, 35 years to even understand. Some people till the end of their life, they will not understand this concept that they are linear minds in a systemic world. And the system is not only bad, it is also positive. And the positive side can keep you from actually um, can keep you from actually knowing the negative side. And if you don't know the negative side, you keep on getting trapped in the system. So this is what I want to talk about in this short video, and I hope I'm able to actually explain it in a very simple way. And I do run a Optimal program, which is an online consulting business, a done for you service, which you can see in the description of this video. If you are interested, we help you scale to about 3,000 to 6,000 pounds monthly. And if you're interested, you can join. You can click on the link. But if you're not interested, uh, I don't really care that much. But I just want you to make sure that you understand this concept, because without understanding or thinking in systems, it will be very, very difficult to actually escape the systemic trap, because you can spend your whole life not understanding the concept of system thinking. Because if you understand this concept, you see the world differently, you see everything clearly, and I'm very sure that you can already perceive how it's going, but you don't understand how to articulate it yet. And that is why I'm able to give you this framework, which is the inflow stocks and outflow and the feedback loop, and why you need to leverage your time because and energy. Because if you are investing your time and energy on things that like odd jobs or working long hour shifts, you won't be able to break this exponential paradigm that is going to actually benefit your life. Because you still be relying on the system or waiting for pension or benefits when you get your ILR or when you retire. And at the end of the day, you now realize that it is a scam. And the system has negative part also. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, just click on the like button and make sure you subscribe to this channel. I want to be doing more of these videos, and if you like this video, you can just comment so that I can do more of these videos and share it with you, because this is a very, very important concept, and a lot of people do not have the time to understand or watch this video. So, but it is very important I share this video with you so that you can know that you are in a system and you need to break out of the system. Because without breaking out, it's going to be the case of why 99% of Nigerians in the UK are failing and doing the same thing and expecting different results, which is also known as foolishness. So I would like to end this video with a quote that by Carl Jung, which says that until we make the unconscious, conscious is going to rule your life, and you're going to call it fate, or you're going to call it destiny, which is not so. Because if you understand this concept, you understand why you need to get something that gives you exponential leverage above the system. So see you in the next one. My name is Timmy, and make sure you subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.